talking about some second-year players that we see taking a big leap this year. Maybe not saying they had a bad first year, but just think we're going to see a monumental jump here in year number 2. Who do you got?
I mean, look, I'm on board. It's all over Twitter because I wrote about Colin Murray last week and how I think he can be the MVP. We've seen the last 2 MVPs were guys that in their second season, they just exploded. You've talked about the 3P formula, play caller, playmaker, protection. When I look at what is around Colin Murray, you can check off all the boxes. Kliff Kingsbury is more comfortable in the NFL game. I thought he did a great job making adjustments about the middle of the season, going from more 10 personnel to more of your traditional sets. He was able to blend in the air raid with some traditional things, and that offense clicked. Colin Murray had 3,500 pass yards, 500 rushing yards. He and Cam Newton are the only guys to have been able to hit that number in NFL history as rookies. And then when you think about what they added around him, Kenyan Drake came around the middle of the season, played well for them. Terrific hybrid playmaker, catch it out the backfield, can run it. Deandre Hopkins gives them a true number 1 to go with Larry Fitzgerald. And the thing that I noticed last year, Colin Murray didn't really throw the ball down the field. Only 11% of his passes were beyond 20 air yards, but he had the 7 most yards on those throws. And so now with DeAndre Hopkins being a master of the 50-50 balls, I think those one-on-one situations on the outside, he should really thrive. I think he is poised to have a breakout year.
All right, so that's a power statement you had talking about Kyler Murray being your favorite for MVP. Let me give you my Kyler Murray power statement, so to speak. If you went through the last 3 drafts, and Orlovsky, our buddy Dan Orlovsky was texting me about this the other day, saying, who would you take? So if you go through the last 3 drafts, so think about that. That's the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, all those dudes, right? Then it's last year's group, which is Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, who else we got? Minshew, that whole crew. Yeah. And then you've got this year, obviously Joe Burrow were the kind of the 2 headliners in this year's class. So he said, over the last 3 classes, if you could take one guy, keep in mind Lamar's coming off MVP award. If you could take, who would be your first pick? And I said, I think I'd take Kyler Murray. I think he would be my first pick just because I can get everything athletically from him, and then I get a dynamic thrower. I mean, and he's got a chance to be, literally has a chance to be, top 2 or 3 throwers in the league. Oh, yeah, and by the way, he's electric when he wants to use his legs and take off and go. And he's in a system that's very comfortable for him. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you on this one, Buck. I think some people, you got some blowback on that. I saw it on social media. Some people saying, hey, you know what division he plays in? I'm like, hey, greatness is greatness. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. If you've got greatness, it's going to come out. And I'm in on this kid, man. I'm with you. I'd buy Kyler Murray.
I really regret, in the draft, and I think still coming from the old school of thought when it comes to scouting. Look, I knew Kyler Murray's greatness from watching him in high school and seeing the flashes, obviously, at Oklahoma. But there was still something, the old school me was like, look, man, he's sub 6 foot. You normally don't go big on those guys or whatever. But what Kyler Murray is, you talked about electric. He's efficient and explosive. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to find guys that are like that. It's kind of like the Barry Bonds of hitting. Barry Bonds wouldn't get many pitches to hit, but when he did, he knocked them out. Kyler Murray is kind of like that. He doesn't run all the time, but when he does, therefore explosive plays. And then his overall efficiency as a passer puts him in a unique and special category, which is why you talk about him being one of the top 2 passers in the league. At some point, you absolutely can see that because what he is a guy who is really a deadly accurate passer who also has the other stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. All right, my first guy, you're going kind of top of the ticket here. I'm going to go down the board a little bit and just give you a name that especially if you do the fantasy football thing, Jace Sternberger, the tight end out of Texas A&M, who's with the Green Bay Packers. They move on from Jimmy Graham. He missed 8 games last year. He was hurt, so he's going to get a chance to be the guy. And talking to people around the league, Buck, they love this dude. They love him. He was very athletic. You saw it at A&M. I think he's got tremendous upside. He can also help you out in the run game a little bit. But I know, and we've been part of this group that's taken, some shots at the Green Bay Packers for not putting more around Aaron Rodgers in this draft class. They just really given a lot of weaponry. This kid coming back playing a full season and getting a chance to be featured, he's going to have a huge year. Jace Sternberger, man, remember that name.
DJ, part of the reason why they may not have put more playmakers around him is because maybe the Green Bay Packers are doing like some of these teams that we've talked about. Maybe they're lining up to be more of a 12 personnel team, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. And if you're going to do more of that, you really don't need to have all of these other wide receivers. Devontae Adams is certainly their guy, but the more Matt LaFleur wants to kind of put his stamp on this offense, if you think about the way the Rams and Kyle Shanahan has operated, stretch, bootleg, play action, Sternberger is a guy that he can split the seam, he can run all those routes, he can climb over the top on those deep overs. He could very well be a big-time breakout player. And you would have to go all the way back to the last time they really had a legitimate tight end.
You're going to go Chamura? Come on.
I mean, no, I'm talking about Jermichael Finley.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like the last big-time young playmaker that he had with him at
Keith Jackson?
I mean, those guys, I play with those guys. Like, he needs somebody better than that. But, no, those guys can certainly help him out.
Oh, Nabil just dropped a Bubba Franks on the text line here.
Good gosh, Bubba Franks.
Everybody, he's the forgotten Miami tight end, man. Everyone forgot about Bubba Franks.
Kind of one of the guys, the originator, one of those guys.
Yeah. All right, who you got next?
I'm going to go with Noah Fant for the Denver Broncos. And the reason why Noah can really have a breakout year, last year he averaged 14 yards a catch. He had 40 receptions, 3 touchdowns. But it's what's around him that could open up the field. With Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, teams are going to have to make a decision. How are we going to defend the Broncos? And with the running game, Phillip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon, Pat Shermer coming over, a little more commitment to the running game. I think Drew Lock is going to find comfort and work in the middle of the field. That's why I think Noah Fant's numbers could go to 60, 65 receptions, 7 to 10 touchdowns as he becomes a big part of the offense as teams begin to play more cover 2 and those things to slow down some of the speed that they have on the outside.
No, that's track team, man. I feel like we've used that phrase a bunch, right? We talked about it with Baltimore last year, building a track team. I think Denver's doing the same thing. Man, this is why I'm so excited about this season, because look at how many teams have gotten so much faster and so much more athletic. And then you got guys like Noah Fant who can take that next step as a second-year player. We've said it. The AFC West is going to be fun, man. I think you're going to see some improved football in that division to try and chase the world champs there in the Kansas City Chiefs. Speaking of speed, my next guy, I'm going to go Marquise Brown with the Ravens. And you know, remember last year going through the draft process, he wasn't healthy, so you didn't get a chance to train, didn't get a chance to run a 40, which he would have ran a ridiculous 40. We still saw him get on the field last year, though, make some big-time impact plays for the Baltimore Ravens. I think that goes to another level this year. I think he gets this full offseason. I know it's a different offseason, but he's got a chance to at least be healthy and lift and run and train on his own. I think he's ready to hit the ground running. He's going to know the offense inside and out. They're going to know how to use him even more. And now you bring in J.K. Dobbins to go along with what they already have with Ingram. They're going to run the ball as well as they ever have, Buck, which is going to pull safeties down, which means you're going to see a lot of Hollywood down the field. I think Hollywood Brown's going to have a big-time breakout year.
I mean, he should have a breakout year because I just don't know how you could possibly double-team him or roll a corner to his side and cloud it with a safety over top just because the running game is so dynamic. You have to commit extra bodies to dealing with Lamar Jackson and all of the runners that they have. And the way that the Ravens are playing, they are looking for home run plays in the passing game. Hollywood Brown wasn't fully healthy, coming off the foot injury and those things. I don't even think we've scratched the surface at what he could be as a playmaker in this offense. Looking at the video of Lamar Jackson and Hollywood working on routes in the park, I just believe that combination is going to be super explosive. Hollywood Brown, 10-plus touchdowns. I think it's easy to forecast that as this offense continues to grow.
All right, who you got next?
Man, the team that beat up the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs, Jeffrey Simmons for the Tennessee Titans. Jeffrey Simmons played 9 games last year. I think if Jeffrey Simmons doesn't get hurt in the run-up to the draft, we're talking about a top 5 player in the draft, maybe the best defensive player in the draft, the way that he is a disruptive force, not only against the run, but against the pass. Well, now that he is back and committed, he understands the speed of the pro game. I just think a full season of Simmons on the inside is going to take this Tennessee Titans defense up a notch. They could go from good to great as he begins to impose his will on opponents.
I mean, what a value pick, right? I mean, I know we said it at the time, like if he's healthy, he's top 5 pick all day. But I thought, man, not only, even if you had to redshirt him, that's a good pick because of what he can be potentially. But man, they got good work out of him last year. And that was kind of like a little bonus what they were able to get out of him last year. Now you're going to get him healthy through the whole offseason. he's got a chance to be a perennial Pro Bowl player. I'm with you on that. I feel like I'm piggybacking you and following you on a lot of these because I had a different player down, but I ended up switching it because this is like a forgotten guy. Quinton Williams. Remember what we were saying about Quinton Williams coming into that draft?
Yeah.
I mean, we had Bosa over him, but it was like he was in the conversation.
Yeah.
He was right there.
Yeah.
He had two and a half sacks last year. Did not really have a big-time impact at all for the Jets. Now, I don't know, how great he is as a fit in Greg Williams' defense. But I just think that Greg Williams has been a good defensive coordinator in this league for a very long time. He's going to get more comfortable with him and how to use him, and I think Quinton Williams will be able to make that adjustment. I just can't believe, that we're not going to see a better version of this kid. As dominant as he was in the SEC, the best division in college football, they couldn't block him. It didn't matter who they were playing against. Quinton Williams was unblockable. And I just have to believe that we're going to see that player emerge here, and we're going to see more from him. Because I'll be honest with you, Buck, that was disappointing last year. I thought we'd see more out of him.
Yeah, when I talk to guys on the inside, like just maybe some immaturity, just kind of trying to figure it out. And it can be a big stage going from Alabama to New York and all the things that come along with being a New York Jet. But I do believe he is too good, too talented not to be the player that we thought that he would be. You're right about Greg Williams' system. Is he an ideal fit? I don't know. But I do believe the player is certainly good enough to be a dominant player. And at some point, that talent is going to bubble up. And I think hopefully this year we will kind of see him play at his best.
Yeah. Anybody else you want to add in here, Buck? I think that's a pretty good list we've got.
Man, that's a great list. The thing that we've always said, most players have their biggest improvement from the first year to the second year, even without the offseason and the OTAs and those things. I think because they finally understand the speed of the game, the expectation and the responsibilities that come along with being a marquee player, they settle in. I think this is the year that we see a lot of guys kind of reach their potential in their second season in the league.